What's up, people? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the tier list for Season 2 in Rogue Company. We're going to be ranking each rogue from worst to best, and I'm going to give a rationale for each rogue here. Now, I'm going to actually break the rules a little bit, and I'm going to start off with Mack because he is the newest rogue to the game, and I know people really want to know about him, so I'm going to value your time and throw him out front. If you disagree with any of the placements that I put the rogues, make sure to let me know and give your rationale down in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump right into the tier list. Now, as I said, the first rogue we're going to look at here is going to be Mack. So Mack is the newest rogue to Rogue Company, and he has a pretty phenomenal kit. So first of all, his weapons are the Objection and the Conviction. Both of these weapons are really good. I think pound for pound, depending on the situation, the Objection is probably slightly better, but the Conviction is also a top tier weapon. Now, his ultimate is a light bomb. He's basically a global flash grenade, so he's able to hit people if they're not in cover. Now, his passive is what really triggers people. He has 25 additional armor, and he gets that back whenever he downs somebody. So it's like a mini life drain, which makes him very dangerous, especially with Dahlia being in the game, right? A lot of people are already noticing that you can pair Mack with Dahlia and have a pretty crazy duo there. Now, pound for pound, I'm going to say that Mack is going to be a high A tier rogue, possibly S tier, depending on who's playing him and what type of team comp he has. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the tier list proper, and we're going to start this off with Dallas. Now, I struggled with putting Dallas in C tier out of spite or B tier. Now, here's the thing with Dallas. Dallas was A tier for a long time. He was just a solid rogue, but since they nerfed his ability, now it goes from 6 seconds to 3 seconds. That is a huge deal when you have two very strong intel rogues still in the game. Now, a thing that Dallas does have going for him, though, is that his kit, besides his ability, is still fairly good, right? He has the Molly, the EMP, the Harem is a sick weapon. The Devotion, if you're using it correctly, can be devastating. He doesn't have a bad kit. Pound for pound, I'm going to go ahead and put him in a low B tier, and hopefully they kind of adjust him back, because right now I don't see why you would play Dallas when you can play Seeker, in all honesty. The next rogue that I'm going to put on this list is going to be Chaac. Now, I know a lot of people swear by Chaac because he has a kit that is definitely meant for slaying out. He has that replenish life drain combo, which is devastating. He has the Simtex, the flash, makes it easy to breach. His shotgun is still a one shot, and his SMG can really shred people down. And honestly, I think he's a very good rogue for new players and for like strikeout and even dodgeball to some extent. But when you see him in demolition, and especially in rank, he doesn't do very well because his ability just doesn't really hold up. How often does Chaac actually get back up against competent players? It's not very often, and that's why I go ahead and put him B tier. I think if this is like a strikeout tier list, he could be higher, but since this is just overall, I'm going to keep him at B for now. The next rogue that we're going to put on this list is going to be Dima, and I struggled with putting him as a high B tier, low A tier, and I went ahead and settled with B. The reason being is that Dima can definitely slay out just like Chaac. He's one of those rogues that is very high risk, high rewards. He can really make it to where you can breach in there, catch a team off guard, possibly get a couple of downs with his high explosive potential. But he also has nothing really keeping him up if he gets caught out, right? He has no type of speed boost. He has no type of mitigation. There's nothing that saves Dima. He's a shootout type rogue. You can use cover just like any other rogue, but he doesn't have anything that really makes him stand out besides his ability to slay out. And as I said with Chaac, if you're playing against better players, it's much harder to catch them out than, you know, if you're pub stomping. The next rogue that I'm going to put on this list is going to be Scorch. I struggled putting her between B tier and A tier, but ultimately after her nerfs, I'm going to go ahead and stick her in the B tier. Her overheat is now louder, it deals less damage, and even though the time to kill has gone down, that is across the board. So in reality, you can still get outgunned, or you can still leave people with that one slither of health, especially if they kind of know that you're coming, or if they're just experienced players. Now, with that being said, Scorch is not bad by any means, right? Her Molly is still going to be clutch on certain maps and against certain team comps. Her ability to push aggressively, most likely with the SLC, not so much the Arbitrator anymore after its nerf, but she can still be a force to be reckoned with on the field. She just isn't as great as she used to be. The last rogue that we're going to put in the B tier is going to be Trench, and I honestly feel like he has the potential to go up to A tier or to go down to C tier. We have to see how well these trip mines really work for him. him. We got to see it a little bit in the PTS, but we got to see what that looks like in strikeout and demolition, extraction, see how that actually feels on him, because trench, I noticed, is a very hard rogue to balance. Secondly, the MXR has gotten a little bit of a buff, and of course the time to kill has gone down, so that kind of brings the MXR back in line. It's still not its former self, but it's definitely a lot better. And of course the harem is always a good weapon. The barbed wire is still in that weird place to where you really have to use it strategically, or it just isn't very valuable, especially on maps where people can just go around or jump over something and get around it, right? They don't have to waste their hack or one of their grenades. And that's why we're going to go ahead and keep him in the B tier for now, but we'll see if he moves up or down as we get into season 2. Now, as we move on to the A tier, we're going to start off with Anvil. Now, Anvil used to be B tier for me, but I'm going to go ahead and pump up to the A tier, especially since Trench and Vi have both received nerfs, so that kind of brings Anvil back in line as being a top defender in this game. For a while, he was definitely outshadowed by Vi. Now, the reason that I think Anvil is going to be so strong is because his shield is going to be invaluable now, right? Being able to block off those points, being able to isolate the bomb, and then of course he has the C4. He's immune to blind, which is going to be a hard counter to Mack, who is very strong right now. So all in all, Anvil is definitely going to be a defender worth picking, and I think we're going to see a lot of him, especially in the demolition game mode. Now, the next rogue that I want to put on this list is going to be Lancer. So Lancer is one of those rogues that if she gets even a little bit of momentum, she can just steamroll through a team, especially if she has competent teammates. Now, the ability that makes this possible is going to be her quick and quiet first and foremost. Being able to move at an enhanced speed and then get that flank on the enemy team is so valuable. And when she's in that shootout, she can use her role elusive and just get her clip back and keep on firing. You pair this with life steal, or life drain I should say, and she's able to just completely roll through a team. She also has, of course, the Semtex grenade, which if used properly can devastate people. And all in all, she's one of those rogues that if she's using comms, or he is using comms, they're able to coordinate with their team and get some amazing plays. Next up on this list is going to be Saint, and I know a lot of people think that Saint is really bad now that Dahlia is just so strong, but in reality, Saint is still definitely an A tier rogue. Will you choose him over Dahlia? Maybe not, but he is a good second option, right? Especially with the ban system coming out now. Now, the reason that I say that Saint is so good is because his drone is still very valuable, right? Even though it's a little easier to destroy than, let's say, Dahlia's res ability, it still has its use, considering that it can go anywhere on the map, and if you are playing aggressively and covering your drone, you can really get some people up with relatively no problem. Now, also, his Mark IV has received kind of a buff because, you know, I got the scope taken off of it a while back, which in my opinion makes it a much more versatile weapon. And then of course his Mamba, if you are within range, is a 2 burst, so meaning that it's basically like the Deadeye, right, which I'm going to talk about later, but it can just burn people down quicker than they are expecting. Now, the last thing that I'm going to say about Saint is that he also has C4, so even if you're not playing very aggressively, you are still very good at blocking off points with that C4 and then the smoke nades. Saint is definitely a high tier rogue and a force to be reckoned with. The next rogue on this list is going to be Kestrel. She is such a high tier rogue for a couple of reasons. First one being is that she has her drone ability, right? That is able to deal some crazy splash damage. If you hit somebody who's trying to hide behind a corner or a wall, you can get right next to them, hit the wall right next to them, and basically get them out of cover, if not kill them. You also add on top of that, she has the bounce nade, which now that people are learning how to really use it, can be devastating to a team, especially with that fast fuse time. And then of course, she has the ability to get 1,000 extra bucks per down, which is ridiculous. Kestrels can get ahead so quickly, get those upgrades faster, and really overwhelm a team simply with their upgrades. Now, if you pair that with the fact that if she has a Dahlia in her team, like that first round, they can link up and Dahlia can also be ahead. It puts a lot of pressure on the enemy team. The last thing that I'll mention is also her resupply ability. Resupply allows her to get back her stem and also her bounce grenade, which makes her a hard rogue to take down and also allows her to deal even more explosive damage. Pound for pound, Kestrel is definitely one of the best slayers in the game right now. Simply devastating. The next rogue that we're going to put here is going to be Vi. For a long time, I had Vi as an S tier rogue. We're going to go ahead and bring her down here to A tier. Now, the reason that I bring Vi down here is because she lost tenacity. Vi is still a very sturdy rogue. She's still very hard to take down, but she's definitely not the steadfast defender that she used to be. I think that Anvil is definitely going to take that position now. The thing that keeps Vi in the A tier, though, is that she's still very much a controller. She's still very much an oppressive force on the field. field, right? She still has 5 throwables. She can throw those poisons out, she can throw those tear gas, she can throw her molly. So she's still very strong. She's still a force to be reckoned with, just not quite as good as she used to be, in my opinion. The last rogue that we're going to put in the A tier is going to be Glitch. Now, Glitch has received a couple of buffs that have definitely solidified his spot in the A tier. The first one being that the range of his hack ability has increased by 5 meters. Now this solves a lot of problems with Glitch, mainly his ability to get close enough to actually break down the enemy's defenses. This is going to make it a lot easier for him to do that without putting himself in as much danger. The second thing that really stands out for Glitch here is going to be the fact that now when he actually hacks you, you have to put away a gadget that you're holding and your ability is shut off, right? So this makes him a lot more formidable against those rogues that could keep their ability going after they already had it activated. Scorch probably been the main one there. Sigrid is going to be affected by this, and of course Lancer. So Glitch is going to be huge for team comps now, especially if they utilize him correctly. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the S tier, and we're going to start this off with Dahlia. Dahlia has been an S tier rogue for me since she came out, and nothing has changed. So basically her abilities are just too good. The fact that she has buddy system and danger close basically allows her to link on to somebody, take their passive, and also res them with no hands, right? So she just speaks to them, and they get back up, and if you pair that with lifeline, she's able to do that in 2.5 seconds. Another thing that makes her so formidable is that she can res somebody by voice and then go and res somebody else at the same time, right? So if you're not putting pressure on that enemy team, if you're not putting pressure on that Dahlia, she's going to be able to get her full team back up in just a matter of 7 seconds pretty much. So huge deal there. Secondly here is that Max is in the game now. Mack basically gives Dahlia a free headstrong if she pairs with him. That is going to make her so powerful, especially in that pistol round, right? Because the Executioner is basically the MXR right now. Like, it's such a strong pistol. You pair that with an extra 25 armor, Dahlia is going to be ripping through people. The next rogue that we're going to put on this list is going to be Phantom, and I want to make a little aside here. Basically, I'm putting Phantom S tier if you are using a sniper and you are actually good with the sniper. Because here's the thing, if you are butt cheeks with the sniper, of course Phantom isn't going to be S tier. This is for the people who actually can use this rogue well. Now, if you are not using a sniper and you're using the Nightshade, I would probably put her more like a B tier, maybe low A tier. And the reason for that is because the Nightshade can be good, obviously, and it pairs well with her kit, right? The nano smoke, the grievous wounds. Phantom is definitely a rogue to be reckoned with, regardless of which gun she's using. But having a one-shot headshot is just too good. And if you're using the sniper properly, she's definitely one of the best, if not the best, besides Fixer, rogue in the game, just pound for pound, slaying potential. The next rogues that we want to put on this list is going to be Seeker. Now, Seeker has bounced around a lot for me, but I'm definitely going to say that he is an S tier rogue simply because of the amount of vision that he can put on the field right now. And with Dallas being nerfed and Talon being hard countered by rogues like Ronin, Seeker is definitely the best intel rogue in the game right now. But even if you take away all the vision that he can get with his sticky sensor and his arrow, his Sahara is a shredder. The Aaron is definitely a top tier DMR right now. The fact that he is able to use a bounce nade, which can simply destroy a team. He has life drain and he also has lifeline, makes him a slayer, a healer, just a all-around utility type rogue that can kind of be everywhere and do all of those things well. Next up on the list here, we're going to put Ronin. Now, I know a lot of people have been switching Ronin to like A tier, S tier. They've been kind of floating between that. I'm going to keep Ronin as S tier right now. I think especially with the changes to her knife, now that it deals 125 regardless, right? I think that's a huge deal, especially since Vi has lost tenacity. That's going to take out a very strong competitor, especially if they're still using Vi in competitive, because you know Ronin's going to be there. Now, she also hard counters Talon, which basically takes him off the table or makes somebody burn a ban, you know, moving into season 2. So for those reasons, Ronin is very good. Then if you take that she also has two of the best weapons in the game, the KA-30 and the SLC, her SMG, Ronin is simply one of the best duelists in the game right now. If she can't outgun you, she can definitely outsmart you depending on how the person is using her kit. All in all, she's going to be one of those rogues that is going to be in competitive, has always been in competitive, and is just going to remain that way because she is that good. Now, the last rogue that we're going to put on this list is going to be Fixer. And Fixer is probably the only rogue that you can argue is actually busted in this game. There's a reason that they banned him from competitive. There's a reason why Rogue Company keeps changing his kit around, keeps nerfing him, and he's still a top tier rogue. That's because he actually is that nasty. I know some people are sleeping on him, especially once they, well, now that they are nerfing his sniper, making it a one shot, right? But remember that deals 80 to the body, and the Warren is a good pistol. Body shot, swap out, get a body shot with the freaking pistol, they go down. He's basically OG Phantom. Now, another thing that I want to note is even if you take Fixer's sniper out of the game and he just uses the Deadeye, the Deadeye is still a top tier weapon. 2 shots to the head, they're going down. And if you pair that with his kit, especially that smoke, right? Smoke, thermal vision, he can devastate a team. Then you put on top of that he has C4. He's able to deal a lot of damage. He's able to block off points with smoke and C4. He's able to burst people down very quickly. He has bounce back. He has headstrong, so he's able to take a punch. He's able to recover quickly. So if you deal damage and you don't get up to him quick enough, he's back at full health, ready to fight. Fixer is a ridiculous rogue. I think he's definitely S tier, S plus tier, and I don't know if there's anything they can do to bring him down from that level, in all honesty. Now, some of you may have noticed, if you made it to the end here, that I did not put Sigrid on this list, and that's because I want to pass this on to you. Where do you think Sigrid is going to fall after her buff? Because there's a lot of talk in the community right now, and there is a large amount of people that feel like Sigrid is simply going to be OP, right? Now that she's going to be completely immune to melees once her shield is out. Plus, with the nerf to melees being thrown as well, it seems like Sigrid is going to be a true bully, which in my opinion she was supposed to be in the first place. I'm going to put Sigrid at a high A tier. Let me know what you think down in the comments and put your reasoning as well for me. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and share this video out with a friend, see what they think of the tier list. Also, let me know if you think anybody should be moved up or down on this tier list. Thank you for watching. This is Orsa Course. We'll see you in the next video or live stream. Peace, 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 peace.